What's up, everybody? My name's Ari, if you don't know me. And I'm guessing that many of you are here because your favorite app just got shut down. If you've never met me before, I actually represented some of the biggest TikTok stars out there right when very early stages of TikTok. And I remember sitting at the kids next door house, which they weren't kids. Okay. Most of them were over 21, but a bunch of social media up and coming people. And I remember it was on the evening where people thought that Trump was going to shut down TikTok and everybody was freaking out. And then it didn't go down. And I think right now people are really confused about what's happening. I've seen it on the Supreme Court side. Anybody that watched the Supreme Court talking about why it should be shut down versus why it shouldn't based off of First Amendment situations. Okay, I'm not an attorney, but one thing I noticed was that there was a lack of understanding of really what is the algorithm? What's the difference between an algorithm and a feature? What about the data? So, a big thing, and I think that if you have kids, especially if you have like teenagers that were on TikTok during the pandemic, what people don't really understand, I don't understand like the vitriol towards just anybody that's on TikTok. It's not really fair, in my opinion. Like, even if you believe that we are giving our information to China and you don't agree with that, you have to understand that a lot of teenagers, 15, 16, 17, and 18-year olds, during the pandemic, there was nothing to do. We were going through this really weird thing in time, and people missed normal things like going to prom. There was nothing going on as far as entertainment. There was no way to connect. And so, for a lot of people, when they think about TikTok, it's about culture and it's about a period in time that they don't want to be erased. Part of it is not just being able to post. For a lot of people, it's like, what about that part of my life? It's like a yearbook, right? That's being completely taken away. And also, it isn't the same as other platforms. And so it is officially offline. So let me show you guys what happens if you try to open the app. It says, I don't know if you guys can read it because it's the I might be the wrong way, but it is saying, sorry, TikTok isn't available right now. A law banning TikTok has been enacted in the US. Unfortunately, that means you can't use TikTok for now. We are fortunate that President Trump has indicated that he will work with us on a solution to reinstate TikTok once he takes office. Please stay tuned. Learn more. Okay, so it says you can still log in, and I think I can show you guys the screen. They shut it down before 12 AM. I don't know what time it shut down. If anybody knows, let me know. But people were anticipating that it was going to be shut down at midnight. Now, I did watch a very recent, I think, video of Kevin O'Leary, and I wanted to break it down because even in just that 7-minute video, it is still a bit confusing to the average person. Okay, on Friday, I went on Fox Business and I talked to Dagan McDowell and Charlie Hurt about this. And you may notice that I spoke in many metaphors, and I did that intentionally, even though perhaps it was a little bit too much. But I did that intentionally because it's very hard to understand. Number one, the culture. Number two, the technology. And number three, the politics that are happening all at once. If you're just a regular person, even somebody like me who's very in tune with the culture on TikTok, this business aspect of it, researching and learning the technology side of it, and broadly understanding the political side of it, it's still very confusing. And in the 7-minute video, where you could watch it and nod your head and say, okay, I generally understand what's going on, you may still not know what they're talking about and how that affects you as a user. So I figured we should break down that video because I was already starting to do that before I saw that it was broken down. So let's see here. All right. What's up, Greg Rogers? TikTok is still on in Australia. So it sounds like just in the US is where they have shut it down. VPN service are so overwhelmed, their domain names do not even resolve. Interesting. I'll be completely honest with you guys. I think that while I get this thing loaded, I will say That I'm disappointed that TikTok, after spending all that time and money lobbying to make sure that this did not happen. And I'll tell you kind of what I understand the repercussions of them shutting it down, even for a day, are. And I'm disappointed that they didn't do a better job of explaining to lawmakers, to Americans. They did a good job of explaining, yes, TikTok is important to a lot of people, okay? But they didn't do a a job explaining of what makes it different? Like, what is the secret sauce? If it goes away, what happens to the secret sauce? And I think that was done intentionally, possibly by TikTok, because TikTok ultimately doesn't want be forced to sell, right? Ideally, they would keep the revenues going, keep the users on there, and keep their algorithm, and potentially keep it tied to China because that gives them a lot of leverage, right? With it being shut down, though, does this start to run the price down? I don't know how all that came to be in terms of like, how is it possible to get shut down, one day before Trump gets into office? My business partner Tony says even favorited is crashing from the overwhelming number of people suddenly trying to cross over. Watching the communities break down across multiple Discord channels is kind of heartbreaking. Oh man, yeah, that's the one platform that I don't use as much, and I probably should. I need to learn how to go live on there. Actually, this is the first time that I've actually successfully been able to stream on Instagram. But see, here's a key difference of going live on Instagram and going live on TikTok. So, what the TikTok algorithm does simply when you go live, and also for some reason, X has not jumped on this yet. Here's a big difference of the algorithm. So, on Instagram, when you go live, I have three people in this room. If I go live on TikTok, it doesn't matter if I have a million followers or if I have 5,000, it shares the video with, like, I would say tens of thousands of people right off the jump. And then it sees how sticky is the video. Are people sticking around? And then if people stick around, it shows it to more people. It's way more interactive. Like, I can see people joining right now, like, hey, what's up? Jackie joined. And I see people, but it's not pushing the algorithm to tens of thousands of people to be like, hey, there's somebody online. I don't know if Instagram only shows it to the people following me. There's not like this running for you page of lives going on right now because nobody goes live on Instagram. It's some people do. Every time that I've gone live, I just don't get anything out of it. People don't comment, interact. Like, the reason why I like going live on YouTube is because people interact in the comments. And I'm on StreamYard right now, so I can pull people's comments up. Even on X, if I look at, okay, I have 249 people viewing on X, but that's total viewers, I think, from the whole stream. I don't know if it updates it. I know before it didn't update it. And then I only have 9 on YouTube and 3 on Facebook. And I don't even know if it says on Instagram. Oh, yeah, on Instagram, it says I have 3. So this is a key difference of the algorithm, the secret sauce that tells TikTok what to show the user. As you can see, I have a whole setup, right? People on TikTok just go live. They don't have to have this kind of a setup. They don't really have to have a nice camera, right? They just go live from their phone and they get to play games. You can go live and generate revenue. If anybody was watching Spencer Pratt, he was going on live so people can send him gifts and people can engage with him. I wanted to break down, this was posted about an hour ago. Kevin O'Leary is doing something really interesting, and I will play this entire clip and then I'll go through and break down pretty much what he's saying in order for like the average person to be able to understand it, because again, I don't think most people understand technically what's going to happen here, and that is why people are freaking out.